Mr. Speaker, after that, there was a flurry of activity from the member for Chaguanas West. Frenetic activity. And the member for Chaguanas West, the Minister of Works and Transport, issued a 7-page press release. And in that press release, Mr. Speaker, the most important words are as follows, as far as we are concerned. In a media release, the minister said he approved a contract to United Engineering Services Limited for the upgrade of airfield lighting control and monitoring systems at Crown Point, as well as in the sum of $35 million, as well as a contract to Harry Prasad and Sons for the upgrade of the approach lighting system and airfield lighting control and monitoring system at Piarco. And these two contracts, Mr. Speaker, the $47 million one to Harry Prasad at Piarco and the $35 million one to United Engineering at Crown Point, made up the $83 million worth of contracts that the Prime Minister halted. The minister at the time claimed that he acted in accordance with the recommendation of the Airports Authority senior management and the section of the Constitution that gives a minister who has been assigned responsibility for any department of government general direction and control over the department. The minister also said that he acted in accordance with the Airports Authority tender rules, he had done nothing wrong, he had broken no laws, etc., etc., Mr. Speaker. Now let's deal with the facts. The fact of the matter is, Mr. Speaker, at the time these contracts were approved by the minister, the Airports Authority had no board. Additionally, Mr. Speaker, the statement made by the minister that the contracts were awarded in accordance with the tender rules is false and misleading. I have in my possession the tender rules of the Airports Authority of Trinidad and Tobago. And if one goes to page 7, Mr. Speaker, one will see the requirements of the Airports Authority in terms of invitation to tender for goods and services. And I read, item 7, invitation to tender, 7.1. Whenever goods, services, or works are required to be supplied or undertaken on behalf of the authority, the value of which is in excess of $100,000, and I've already pointed out, we're talking about $83 million, made up of 47 and 35, more or less making a total of 83, the value of which is in excess of $100,000, the general manager or the divisional head, through the general manager, shall make a request to the relevant committee to invite tenders. The request shall include the following: a justification for the project, scope of works, specifications, estimate of the costs, source of funding, etc., evaluation criteria, and a recommended evaluation team. So that is the rule that deals with invitation to tender. If we go now to Rule 7.4, contractor selection, where the selective form of tendering is used, such invitation shall be restricted to the authority's list of approved tenders. 7.42, the relevant division shall be responsible for the selection of contractors, and the number of invitees shall be determined as follows: tenders greater than 100,000, a minimum of 7 contractors. Now those are the rules. And Mr. Speaker, the minister has flagrantly broken those rules. Because what happened is that the Airports Authority invited tenders for a single contract for lights at both Piarco and Crown Point. The process went through its normal procedure, evaluation, recommendation, and so on. And a recommendation was made for a single award to United Engineering in the sum of $68 million. But something very strange happened then, Mr. Speaker, and the minister has not denied this. And if we go again to the Guardian on the 22nd of, we go to the Guardian on the 10th of October, contracts jumped from 68 million to 83 million.
Whoa.
And listen to this. Documents received made available to the Sunday Guardian revealed that Warner was approached by one Harry Prasad at a meeting at the Diplomatic Center between the Prime Minister and local contractors. Following that meeting, a decision was taken to split the United Engineering Services contract in two and to award Harry Prasad the larger contract for the Piarco lighting, while United Engineering was to receive the smaller contract for the Crown Point lighting. So Mr. Warner, the Minister of Works, meets with a contractor at the Diplomatic Center, an unsuccessful contractor, a contractor who was not successful in being the first-ranked bidder for this lighting contract. And after that meeting, Mr. Warner decides to split the contract in two. Now, that is a matter for the Integrity Commission, Mr. Speaker. I just want to serve notice that's a matter for the Integrity Commission. Because that smells of corruption. Smells of corruption. But what is worse, Mr. Speaker, after that meeting, and the Minister himself has admitted that he decided to share the contract between the number one bidder and the number two bidder, he did not follow the tender rules of the Airports Authority, which require 7 bidders for contracts in excess of 100,000 and an entire process for selective tendering. What the Minister did, and we have it from the Airports Authority itself, because the Airport Authority issued a press release, Mr. Speaker. The management of the Airports Authority issued a press release, and in that press release they said that the project was deemed to be crucial to the authority to continue to provide safe and secure aviation services. As a consequence, in the absence of a board, the decision was taken to refer this matter to the Line Ministry for consideration. And here's the critical words, Mr. Speaker. The Line Minister advised, Line Ministry advised the management of the authority that given the urgency of the matter, the two ranked bidders would be invited to negotiate and submit proposals for the work to be done at Crown Point International and Piarco. So it was the Minister who told the Airports Authority to split the contract and not the other way around. The Minister, however, said he acted in accordance with the recommendations of the Airports Authority senior management. So somebody is telling an untruth here, Mr. Speaker. It is either the Minister who is not speaking the truth, or it is the management of the Airports Authority is not speaking the truth. But both versions cannot be true. One has to be true and one untrue. I believe the management of the Airport Authority. And you know, Mr. Speaker, even somebody like the member for Oropouche East who has just graduated from law school, even somebody like that who has little experience should advise the Minister that when Tender Rule 7 says, whenever goods, services and works are required to be supplied, the value of which is in excess of 100,000, the General Manager shall make a request to the relevant committee to invite tenders. There was no committee. The Tenders Committee of the Airports Authority was comprised of members of the board of the Airports Authority. And since they had all resigned, the Airports Authority had no Tenders Committee, and therefore tenders could not be invited. So the Minister gave the Airports Authority an unlawful instruction, Mr. Speaker, an unlawful instruction. So it doesn't matter what authority the Minister has. The Minister says he has authority in accordance with the Constitution. I saw some half-baked legal opinion that according to Act number 4 of 2007, the board of the authority and the authority was separated, allowing the Minister to give instructions to the authority. That's nonsense. But let's forget that issue as to whether the Minister was authorized to give instructions. Even if he was, he is not authorized to give illegal instructions. And that is what the Minister did. You broke the law. Yes, I feel quite strongly about this. You broke the law. You met with a contractor, Mr. Speaker, through you. The Minister met with a contractor at the Diplomatic Center, split the contract, and gave illegal instructions to the Airports Authority. That is what has happened, Mr. Speaker. And the PM say he broke, but the Prime Minister doesn't know. The Prime Minister has not seen the tender rules of the Airports Authority. The Prime Minister is not aware that the Minister has breached the rules and has broken the law, Mr. Speaker. So that's the airport matter. Let's move to the next one. Let's move to the next one, the interchange, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, In April of this year, 2010, Mr. Speaker, in April of this year, 2010, I caused a note to be prepared for Cabinet, Mr. Speaker. And in that note, Mr. Speaker, I have it in front of me. It was considered by Cabinet at its last meeting before the general election in May 2010. And in that Cabinet note, Mr. Speaker, as Minister of Works and Transport, I recommended to the Cabinet that tenders be invited to build what is called Package C of the interchange, which is the bridge separating the Uriah Butler Highway from the Churchill Roosevelt Highway. Tenders be invited, Mr. Speaker. The reason why I recommended tenders, there are many reasons: accountability, transparency, integrity, value for money. There are all sorts of reasons why you invite tenders. There was no existing contract in place. The Package B for the interchange was completed. There was no reason whatsoever for tenders not to be invited, Mr. Speaker. But lo and behold, earlier this year, Mr. Speaker, I believe it is on the 14th of October, the Minister of Works made a statement where he said that Cabinet yesterday approved the completion of the interchange and that the bridge in the sum of $218 million without VAT, is about $240 million, will be completed by Vinci Construction. Without tenders, Mr. Speaker. Without tenders. Now, the only justification for a sole selective award, emergency, no emergency. I sent a note to Cabinet since April of 2010. That note was sitting there in the ministry. You could have invited tenders in May. By now, the tenders would have been in and a proper recommendation made. So there's no emergency. A variation of an existing contract, there is no contract. The contract for Package B came to an end months ago, Mr. Speaker. So, and the third reason for a sole selective award, Mr. Speaker, is that it is the only company in the country or the world that can do this contract. Mr. Speaker, the Ministry of Works and NIDCO went through an exercise of pre-qualifying 17 international contractors to do a national highways program. 17, including at least 12 international firms, all of whom have the capacity, the capability, the resources to do that bridge that would go over the Churchill Roosevelt Highway. All 12 of them. So there's the idea that the only contractor that could have done this bridge was Vinci is absurd. It is not an emergency, and it is not a variation of any contract. So the minister once again, and it's a habit, Mr. Speaker. Look at what this minister is doing. He breaches the Airports Authority tender rules and makes an unlawful instruction to the Airports Authority to give a contractor a contract after he meets with him at the diplomatic center. He breaches the tender rules and he instructs NIDCO to give a sole selective award to Vinci Construction without tenders for no reason whatsoever. $240 million, Mr. Speaker. It's a habit. And what one wonders, what else is going on in that Ministry of Works? What else is going on inside of there? I mean, the rumors are wild. I understand.
2 minutes?
No, Mr. Speaker, I only went for 13.
You started at 4:13. I'll give you 1 minute.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I understand the minister has some advisor who has some interest in drainage, Mr. Speaker. Some fella has some interest in drainage, Mr. Speaker. And I understand the minister is considering giving this individual some work to do drainage work in Port of Spain. Mr. Speaker, I want to warn the minister. Those things may work at FIFA. This kind of reckless behavior may work at FIFA. FIFA is a private organization. But as a public figure, as somebody in public life, I want to warn the minister that he is subject to the Integrity in Public Life Act, the Prevention of Corruption Act, and a number of other laws that have been enacted to deal with people like him, Mr. Speaker. So I am warning the minister, be very, very careful because people are watching you. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.